'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. 'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
And welcome to the New York Reaction, where everything's sure to be an overreaction. I'm your host, the monster on the mic, Sheck Monster. Boy, oh boy, is there a lot to talk about with free agency a few days in and everything winding up. It has been a lot of activity out there, and there's been some big moves that have blown people's minds. So let's go ahead and start with the top of the list with the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins, acquired in a trade with the Texans, along with a fourth-round pick in exchange for David Johnson, as well as a 2020 second-round pick and a 2021 fourth-round pick. Absolutely a steal for the Arizona Cardinals. What were the Houston Texans thinking? I just don't understand it. I don't know what their game plan is and what they're trying to move towards, but man, is Kyler Murray going to be my sleeper in fantasy football? I think he has an opportunity now to be the next Lamar Jackson and just have a blow-up season. They held on to Kenyon Drake, placing the transition tag on him, so he should be there next year. They made sure they got Larry Fitzgerald back. I mean, they are going to be looking like a much improved team. It's just unfortunate for them. They have a very tough division that they're going to be facing, so that can make things very difficult for them. Look at the Atlanta Falcons. They didn't do a whole lot, but I think they did enough to help their team. They just got Todd Gurley to a one-year deal, so if things don't work out and he's not fully healthy, then they can cut ties with him. But if he is 80% of what he was 2 years ago, they're talking about an explosive player out the backfield that Matt Ryan right now could desperately use. You got Hayden Hurst coming over at tight end with a trade, so that takes place for the loss that they had at tight end, and I think that could be a good fit for this team, and they don't have to give up too much in order to get it. So that way, if it doesn't work out again, they're not going to be losing and having to give them make that big payday that could hurt their other opportunities for signings. We go down the list of Buffalo Bills now. Here's what we talk about the difference. In people's opinion, who would you rather have on your team right now? DeAndre Hopkins or Stephon Diggs? When we look at the trades and we look at what was given up, Stephon Diggs was acquired in a trade with the Vikings, along with a 2020 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2020 first-round pick, a 4th-round pick, a 6th-round pick, and a 2021 4th-round pick. I mean, they had to give up a boatload of stuff for Stephon Diggs. Are you trying to tell me that if you're over there in Houston that you couldn't have asked for the same type of package in order to get that player back? I mean, to give up DeAndre Hopkins is just absolutely absurd. I cannot believe the difference in trades that those two were. And if I had to choose my personal opinion, if I had to make a pick, I would absolutely want DeAndre Hopkins on my team over Stephon Diggs. And that's just a personal opinion, but I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think. Buffalo Bills, much improved, I think, with just that one addition on offense that gives him a deep threat and a weapon. I think he's going to mix in well with that team, and I'm excited to see what they can do now that Tom Brady's left town. It should be interesting. Teddy Bridgewater to the Carolina Panthers. I kind of like that. I think it's a good fit. I think he's going to do some similar things over there that he did for the 5 games with the Saints. I think he has an opportunity to turn around and hand the ball off, do some dump passes, and Christian McCaffrey should be able to see another amazing season with the way everything's looking. I think that was a great signing, and I'm excited to see what comes out of that team this year. Chicago Bears goes after Nick Foles. I think the quarterback woes for the Chicago Bears are just going to keep on continuing, and I feel bad for them. A lot of their offensive moves were a little mind-boggling, signing Jimmy Graham, who just, to me, is old and over the hill. I don't remember the last time he's had a big season, and I just think for 2 years, $16 million is just overpaying for a player that's just not going to give you the kind of production your team needs. And if Nick Foles is healthy, I think he could be an adequate quarterback, but you had to take on a big contract in order to get him. So, only time will tell what's going to happen there. Cleveland Browns, I think, made some good moves. Some are a little interesting because it shows their confidence in some of the players that they have right now on their team and what they're going to do with players going forward. But overall, I do like their moves. Jack Conklin, I had said it in another show that I really like him. I thought he was a good pickup. I think he'll definitely help shore up that line. They grabbed Austin Hooper on the free agent market. That's the one that I was talking about earlier that was looking for a payday, and he got it, and which is why Atlanta went ahead and made that trade. They weren't looking to dish out that kind of money, but he had a great season at the right time. You gotta give him credit. He came out last year. He was overall, until he got injured, the number 1 tight end on the year in fantasy football. He put up great numbers, great production, and he got paid for it. And let's see what he's going to do down there in Cleveland. The biggest one that surprises me, and not completely, because I think, like I say, this just tells you what their confidence is no longer. They don't have the same amount of confidence in Baker Mayfield, is the Case Keenum signing. I think they signed him in order to make Baker work hard, let him know that his job's no longer secure. And I have a strong feeling that if Baker starts to play the beginning of this season the way he was playing last season, they will pull him, they will bench him, and they will put Case Keenum in. They know they have talent around them. They know they have a hell of a team. Now they have a dual tight end threat. They have 2 dual threats at receiver. They have 2 dual threats at running back. You just need a quarterback that can manage the game at this point, and they should be A-okay. So Baker Mayfield, watch your back, because if you don't start producing, you might see yourself watching Case Keenum playing over you. We all know about the Cowboys. They didn't do a whole lot as far as splashing. Amari Cooper got signed. Dak Prescott got the franchise tag. They're a little bit in disarray over there. Don't know what they're going to do. Denver Broncos signed Melvin Gordon. I like that signing. I think that he's a good running back. I think he can produce over there. And I think with him splitting some time with some of those other guys, I think that'll be a good fit for him, similar to what he did in the Chargers. The only problem is they still don't have anything with the quarterback, so we'll see what they do in the draft maybe. But I think that's going to be one of their biggest needs, is they got to do something about quarterback. Next on the list, the Green Bay Packers went for Mercedes Lewis. Nothing great there. I mean, I think their offense is pretty okay, so I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think they need anything huge there. Houston Texans got Randall Cobb. I really don't love that signing. I don't think he's going to fill that void. I don't know what you're going to be able to do with him there. Kenny Stills on the other side, and then we don't even know about the other receiver if he can stay healthy. It's just one of those things that's a little boggling to me as far as what they're doing out there in Houston. You are the GM now. You took the reins, so let's see what you can do with it. And right now, from the paper, it does not look great. I got to tell you that. I mean, you have David Johnson, but we all see that David Johnson does not look like himself. He's a shell of himself, which is the concerns about Gurley over there in Atlanta. We just don't know what you're going to get. And now this is a second running back that we've seen go down with an injury and not return to full form. And I think right now you're overpaying, even if it's for one season. And I think it might not be a great fit, but we'll see. Time will tell. Indianapolis Colts, they went ahead and picked up Phillip Rivers to a 1-year deal. I'm not in love with Rivers personally. I like Jacoby Brissett better. I think Rivers' arm is a little shot. I don't think he can throw the deep ball the way that he used to. I don't think him with Hilton is going to be great. I mean, they have a great offensive line, so maybe that will help him a little bit, because I don't know how great the Chargers' offensive line was. But it's a very similar team to what he had over in in LA on the Chargers, where he has a good receiver. He has a couple pieces, but I just don't see it being a marriage made in heaven. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not loving that by any means. So we'll see what happens. The Las Vegas Raiders, they went ahead and signed Marcus Mariota. That is very interesting. We'll see what happens. They are another team that maybe is not 100% sold on their current quarterback and David Carr, and maybe they're looking for an opportunity to create some competition, or maybe they feel like they can do to Marcus Mariota, which what Ryan Tannehill did to them last year, which is come in and be able to produce in a certain style of offense. John Gruden's a great coach, so we'll see what he has in store, but some of the signings were a little weird, just like Jason Witten. Don't know what that's all about. And when you have a great tight end already, he's young, he's not injury prone, he produced. With Waller, I really don't see the need for Jason Witten. I really think that was just spent too much money on somebody you don't really need. Chargers, they just kept some of the pieces they already had, which is good. They kept Hunter Henry. They kept Austin Eckler. Obviously, he's going to be the feature back. That's definitely going to be interesting to see. We saw what he could do by himself in the beginning of last year, the first 4 games, and the guy produced. He was a workhorse. He caught the ball. He ran the ball. He was very electric, but he was also fighting for a position at the time and fighting for this contract, considering he knew anytime Melvin Gordon can come back and take time and plays from him. So once these players get paid, sometimes it's a little interesting what's going to happen. You never know. Los Angeles Rams, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on there. They're literally losing pieces instead of bringing pieces in. So they're down at running back. We'll see what happens. There's still time for them to go out and make some moves. Honestly, the Los Angeles Rams, I'm surprised they didn't go after like a Melvin Gordon maybe. I thought that could have been a good fit for them. Time will tell, though. I mean, these franchises, they got good coaches. They got good front office, and let's see what they are able to do and turn it around. Vikings didn't make a huge splash other than re-signing Kirk Cousins to an extension. We'll see there what happens. New England Patriots didn't do a whole lot right now. We'll see what happens there other than losing Tom Brady. I mean, that's pretty big, I guess. We should really talk about that. But we've talked about Tom Brady enough. I don't think we really need to go there. We'll talk about it a little bit further down when we talk about the Bucs. New Orleans Saints making sure they kept both their quarterbacks, Drew Brees and Taysom Hill, which I think will be important if you're going to go against Tom Brady twice a year. So, nothing wrong with that. We'll just see. Brees' arm does not seem to be getting things done, and Taysom Hill seems like he's going to be replacing Brees, so I understand why they're trying to keep both of them around, at least for one more year without having to pay Hill. We'll see what happens going forward. Giants didn't do huge in the offensive side, but is looking to do a lot on the defensive side. We'll talk about that on another show. Jets didn't do a whole lot. The Eagles didn't do a whole lot. Surprisingly, on offense, I thought they may go after a big-name receiver, but maybe they're just going to wait for the draft. We all know this draft is loaded with receivers, and as we get closer to the draft, I'll be talking more about it. Don't worry. Pittsburgh Steelers getting Eric Ebron. I think that could be a good fit. They definitely need a tight end for Big Ben. It's somebody that he can dump the ball off to, somebody who's a bruiser. I really kind of like that. I think that could be a very nice addition. We'll just have to wait and see. Jacob Hollister, I think, was an absolute need. They traded away their other tight end, but then they got Greg Olsen as well. So they're looking to shore up that dual tight end threat. You saw that last year, Russell Wilson liked to go to the tight end a lot, and he was definitely something that he was interested in doing. So I think that could help him out. I think Greg Olsen still has a year or two left in him. So a 1-year deal where Olsen has to go out and bust his ass, stay healthy. I think that could be very beneficial. I'm very interested to see how that works. If Olsen becomes another Jimmy Graham where his best days are past him and he just kind of goes around getting signed by his name, it's up in the air. We'll see what happens. We don't know. Tampa Bay obviously signing Tom Brady. They didn't need a whole lot on the offensive side. They have great receivers. They got a great tight end. They have opportunity there. Tom Brady's going to step in with just a ridiculous amount of weapons, so we'll just see what happens there. Maybe they could get some help at running back, but maybe they'll go ahead and just draft somebody and have a better luck drafting somebody. Tennessee Titans making sure they franchise tag Derrick Henry. We'll see if he pulls with the holdout or not and taking Ryan Tannehill. I've told you before, I'm not in love with Ryan Tannehill. I think this is a year that we'll have to really see what he does. Some of these players have been in the league for 7-8 years. They prove themselves, but we've also seen not great quarterbacks win Super Bowls, so anything's definitely possible. And then last but not least, the Washington Redskins, J.D. McKissick at running back. They definitely need some help out there. There really is a lot of weird things going on with the running back position. I know there are players that they want have been getting hurt. They haven't been producing the way they want, and then so they could use somebody who at least can catch the ball, even though they had somebody last year in that, but we'll see what happens. That's a little bit to wrap up some of the big notable moves on the offense side of the ball. When it comes to free agency, there was definitely some shockers out there. I definitely think the biggest thing, though, that happened was the DeAndre Hopkins trade and the Stephon Diggs trade. I think those are going to be the biggest impacts for the teams that acquired those players, and it's curious to see how it affects those teams that lost them going forward. I think it's going to hurt the Houston Texans quite a bit because they didn't get a whole lot back for it, and I think the Vikings could be okay because they could turn around and draft a young wide receiver to put on the other side of Thielen and make something happen there. Let me know what you guys think about some of these moves, which ones you loved, which ones you hate. Hit me back up. You can always email me at the nyreaction@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and just send me some notifications and information down at the bottom of the YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Have a great day, guys.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.